What up, though, from Detroit? I am Aisha Latrice. Listen to me. IFM, nothing but a blessing. Right when you need it, the way you need it, that word gonna come forth. Pastor Curtis Stevens and Tammy, they gonna show you in the word. Like they always say, they gonna land you in the word. It ain't gotta be deep, but they gonna teach you kingdom. They gonna give you book, chapter, and verse. They're going to show you in the word. It's a blessing to be a part of this ministry. I remember in the middle of the pandemic, there were people calling the pastors for help. They had dire situations, things going on, money was lacking. A lot of things was going on, and guess what they did? They reached out to the people. And guess what we did? We responded. It has nothing to do with big eyes and little U's. But they're going to land you right there in that word. They're going to show you. They're going to walk you through it. You are valuable. You are needed. You're going to learn that. You're going to accept your inheritance. Come on, y'all. We don't get excited because we're excited here in Detroit.
Tomorrow, you want to join Increasing Faith Ministries with Pastors Tammy and Curtis Stevens from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. for the Hour of Power. It's going to be a quick word to get your day started, to help uplift you, to get you some understanding, and you definitely don't want to miss out. So again, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Facebook Live, and it will also be streamed on YouTube.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to the day. I am a member at Increasing Faith Ministries, Detroit. My name's Danielle. IFM have truly been a blessing to me, financially, spiritually, and mentally. I'm able to teach my children about Matthew 6:33, seek ye first. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all those things shall be added unto you. I love it because you can actually walk this scripture out as well as many others. I'm actually able to go to work and tell my patients about Matthew 6:33 and help them. A lot of people narrow it down to certain things you could do, but everything is really simple, such as if somebody have trembling hands and he loves coffee, that person cannot hold the coffee in their hand. So if I'm there to help him drink the coffee so he can enjoy it, I've met that person's need. So it's a wide range of things, but to know exactly who you are in Christ and to know that you have a job to do on earth and be God's willing vessel and let Him use you. He just keep continuing to just grow you more and more. So I'm happy to say I'm a member.
will let go of the schoolmaster and take on the real.
There's an open door for you. It don't have a knob on it. So you ain't got to turn it and push it. In the realm of the spirit, it's just open.
Truly, God has given you land. God has given you territory. God has given you witty inventions. God has given you ideas. God has spoken to you. Truly, that was God. Truly. Now, somebody is doubting what they heard. That can't be God. No, truly, it was God. Oh, God. There's somebody sitting here right now. God told you to do something and you're trying to reject it. But truly, it was God. Oh, boy. Truly, God is with you. Truly, God has given you the inhabitants and the land. God has given it to you. You're so busy trying to figure it out, but it's already been worked out.
I'm Tanisha Johnson, author and book strategist. For over 10 years, I've written 15 books, produced a sold-out stage production, and helped hundreds birth their best-selling books. Many people have a great idea for a book, but they have no idea where to start. They are literally staring at a blank page. So it's my purpose and my passion to help them in their journey. So I created something called the Red Ink Conference, a live event for aspiring authors, giving them the necessary tools to brand, publish, and market their book. And as much as I love live events, I thrive best when I'm working with individuals one-on-one. Being able to help someone with their book project from start to finish is what I live for. That's why I launched my virtual book strategy program. In this program, you'll receive strategic direction for your book and clarity on your target market. And I'll teach you the tools on how to monetize your message. You'll even have the option to work with me personally to write your book and finish it in record time. The process of writing and publishing a book can seem overwhelming, but I'm here to teach you how easy it can be. So let's talk today about how we can work together to get your book started.
For more information, please visit www.soitiswritten.net or email info@soitiswritten.net. You may also reach us by phone by dialing 313-777-8607.
If you're alive and you ain't enjoying your life, something's wrong. You mean to tell me you alive, but you ain't enjoying your life? Something's wrong. And you got to discover what it is and change it. And you can tell it's a lie because every time they give you something and it proves to be wrong, they shift it. See, this is how you know hypocrisy and deception. You can't grab it. See, the scripture tells us in Hebrews, it says, don't be moved away from truth. Why? Because truth is stationary. In other words, a truth don't mind being scrutinized. See, a truth can sit under the microscope, and it don't make no difference how many times you magnify and turn it up. 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, it's going to still be. But a lie, once it's opposed, it ain't going to keep saying what it's saying. It's going to shift. See, once you discover that somebody is lying to you, and then you question it, what happens? They add something to it. They try to shift it off of what they said, and they do something different.
What I'm doing ain't right. And I feel like there's more to my life than what I got. It's more to what I'm experiencing than this. It's gotta be more to this than just living and then hauling off and dying. It's gotta be more than just working 30 years. Come on, somebody. And seeing everybody else go up, and I never go up. They're serving the devil. I'm serving God, and I can't go up. There's gotta be something that I'm missing. Somebody say, I'm missing, I'm missing, I'm missing. And so God said, I tell you what, I know your works, and I know you're serious about me. So I'm gonna lead you to a place that shows you the open door. But your eyes gotta be open. Somebody say, but your eyes. Your spiritual eyes gotta be open. You've gotta be willing to reject everything that has held you up. You gotta be willing to say no to everything that's causing you to back off. You gotta say no to everything you thought previously. And you gotta renew your mind in this kingdom.
Hi, thank you for coming in today to this particular series. This is the Naked and Not Ashamed series. We're your hosts, Pastor Curtis and Tammy Stevens. We pray today that something will be said that enhances your marriage and your relationships. This is 34 years of marriage, 37 years of relationship. So you're not dealing with novice. Some of the things that we're going to teach here today is going to change your life.
You'll learn how to communicate. You'll learn how to submit to the mission that each person is called to. And overall, you'll just learn the principles that Pastor Tam and I have learned over our marriage, how to just love one another in a kingdom manifested way. Welcome to Naked and Not Ashamed. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. How's everybody doing today? It's good to see you guys. See who's on with us right now. Regina, what's up, Regina? I was thinking about Regina. I said I was going to give her a call. Hi, Regina.
Regina, what's up?
What's going on,
Murph.
Sister Joyce? How are you? Lisa Hoxley Drew, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sister Lisa.
Mary.
I got your message, Sister Lisa. I'm gonna respond to it afterwards, after we go on.
Mary, how are you, Sister Mary? Danielle is here. Again, Joyce is here. I want you to share this with your family and friends. Share this with your family and friends. We're still talking about Naked and Not Ashamed. We're still on the questionnaire.
We're still on the questionnaire.
We're still on the questionnaire. We haven't moved past the questionnaire. Quite a few questions.
Good stuff, though.
Very good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff, Pastor.
And we wanted to give you these nuggets on how to open up a conversation. We call it lengthy conversation. This is the opportunity when you do these questionnaires, when you come to the Naked and Not Ashamed, or when you are in our counseling sessions for marriage. These are the questionnaires that we give so that we can open up the doors of communication so that you can have real conversation. Generally, we do not talk about a whole bunch of religious stuff. A lot of times people come to us and, you know, they think that they need to talk about the spiritual stuff that they feel like they're called to. You know, I'm a pastor, I'm a prophetess. You know, God told us that we're going to have a big ministry. All that's cute and all that's fun and all that. But generally, Pastor Curtis and I make them stop. We make them stop. And, you know, that's for another time. We want to talk about how you're going to live together. We don't talk a lot about you being a prophet or a prophetess. We don't talk about your ministry. We don't really do a whole lot of that because when you're at home, you're not pastor.
Right.
You're not prophetess.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe that's that.
You
maybe,
ain't shepherd. You ain't apostle.
No,
you ain't the man of God at home. You shouldn't be.
No. Mm-mm.
You shouldn't be. You should be husband.
That's
you
right.
should be Kurt and Tam at
That's
home.
right. At home, it's Kurt and Tam. Ain't nobody calling me prophetess at home.
So
They ain't treating me like no pastor. You ain't gotta,
no,
carry my briefcase.
no.
And get me some water, open the car door.
No, ain't
treat
nobody
me like
waiting
a
at the
pastor.
door
Hey,
when I come in, and ain't nobody waiting at the door when
you
Pastor
can't
Kurt's
take the
coming.
garbage out.
No,
You can't sweep. You can't.
No, you can't wash a couple of clothes.
You can't do nothing.
No. At home, this is a real life relationship, and I'm not saying being pastor is not real, but at your house, you the daddy or you the husband.
Yeah.
You're not anybody's pastor at the house. You're not anybody's apostle at the house.
You ain't pastoring nobody from the house.
Okay, let me go ahead.
Nobody getting saying nobody. Y'all. We starting already.
Yes,
we starting already.
No, nobody's shepherding and pastoring at home.
No.
So we don't
Husband
deal with
and wife
that.
at home.
We deal with the real things that you're going to deal with as husband and wife. We deal with things,
issues,
right?
Mindsets,
Right.
How to love each other, not pastor each other.
Right.
Right.
You ain't gonna be at home. I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, "No, I go wash them clothes. What time is dinner?
Get that grass cut,
right,
and trim up them bushes."
Okay.
I hear the Spirit of the Lord saying, "Go wash the car. You wash the car, put some gas in it.
Go put some gas in the cars." Somebody give us some thumbs up now.
Quiet.
Because when you get married, I promise you, ain't nobody thinking about preaching 365 days out of the year. Nobody's thinking about what the Spirit of the Lord is telling you right now. I asked you to clean up. I asked you not to put that towel on the bed. I asked you.
Remind you of that.
I asked you to keep your sink clean. I asked you to help me around this house. So those are things that we don't really get into because, we recognize as a couple who have been married 34 years, honestly, and 37-year relationship, honestly, that has its place.
Yeah.
But that's not in everyday life.
Right.
And so we're still talking about the questionnaire, and we're in the area now about appearance. And these are some more questions that we encourage people to ask when they get married or when they're thinking about getting married.
Or these are areas that we try to make sure we continue to focus on during the marriage, because sometimes you're in it, pastor. It's a day-to-day thing. Small things like, when we wake up in the morning, we always try to say good morning to one another before, we get on your mind, how we going to minister this morning, or what run I got to go on, or Melody is on the side of the bed when she got to go outside, or Max is whimpering because before life hits, we always try to wake up and say good morning to one another. At least if we don't say nothing else right then, because you wake up, sometimes you're thinking about things, or sometimes stuff is on your mind.
Right.
But we try to at least say good morning to one another.
And so we're going to be talking about hygiene and your appearance, how important that is in marriage, because a lot of people, for whatever reason, they get married and they are not as diligent. Not everybody, but they're not as diligent as making sure that they keep their appearance up. And so how important is appearance to you in marriage? Is it important? Is it not so important? And what are some of the things that you would like for your spouse to continue to maintain? Once you get married, you shouldn't stop washing up and cleaning up your body. You shouldn't stop, making sure you put on a little deodorant. You shouldn't, believe it or not, those things happen. People get married and they like, I ain't got to do all that no more. But now that's unfair. So we want to make sure that we get those things on the table and we talk about them. So let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this time that we're spending together. We ask right now that your word will go forth and not come back void, but it shall accomplish what it has been sent to do. We thank you for the wisdom of God concerning marriage and relationship. We thank you for it, and we give you the glory, honor, and praise for it. In Jesus' name, amen, and thank God.
All right. Matthew 6:33 says,
but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. 2 Corinthians 5:17
Therefore,
says,
if any man be in Christ, he's a new creation. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. So the naked and not ashamed, again, is birthed out of the kingdom mindset concerning two individuals coming together, coexisting, walking out a kingdom narrative in a kingdom marriage.
Amen.
And Pastor Tammy and I, again, with 34 years of marriage and 37 years together, God kind of gave us a blueprint to kind of get people's mindsets over in marriage in a kingdom way, not in a religious way and not in a churchy Christian way,
right?
But in a kingdom mindset. Remember, kingdom means freedom. And when your marriage is free in the kingdom, there are so many liberties that you can enjoy, so many mindsets that you can enjoy while you're here on the planet.
Amen.
So we're in section number, I don't know what section number this is, but we're in the appearance section.
Amen.
And one of the questions, Pastor Tammy, is how important is it to you to look and smell your best?
Now, if that's something that is not super important to you, that's a door that you all can open up and have a conversation on why it's not as important to you as it may be to your partner. But these are things that need to be talked about. You know, is it important to you that I look good? Is it important to you that I smell good? Is it important every day that we get up, we take our showers? Is it important? And I made this comment that there are some young ladies who, when they're at home, they still wear a lot of makeup, or they wear makeup. They do the eyelashes, they do the lipstick, they do the foundation, they do the contouring, they do all of that. And they don't have a day that they don't do it. Is that important to you that your wife has makeup on and looks her super best all the time? Because to be honest with you, most people don't realize that's a lot of work. And sometimes you don't want to put on a whole bunch of makeup. Sometimes you don't want to put on the lashes. You don't want to do the eyebrows. You don't want to do all the foundation and all of the, enhancements. Maybe you don't want to do it every day. But is that important to your spouse that he comes home to some glamour every day? Is that important?
Right.
Because to some people, where's your makeup? I want you to put on your makeup.
Yeah.
Is that important to you?
Yeah.
Is perfume and smells important? Is cologne important to you? How important is it? Do you want to smell perfume or a certain perfume every day? Do you want cologne? How important is the scent of your spouse to you? Do you want to make sure, some people, they learn some things and then they stop wanting to wear deodorant. And they stop wanting to do that because they feel like deodorant has aluminum in it and it's supposed to be a cause of cancer and blah, 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 blah. People get a hold to that.
And it does.
And it may have some points to it. But what does it mean? I don't want to smell muss. So what are we going to do about the muss? What are we going to do about that? That's important to some people, that I don't smell you ever. I don't want to smell my spouse ever. So is that important to you? And those things have to be discussed.
So, Pastor, also things have to be discussed. We're going to get into it a little bit. The other issues, like we talked about on last week, we said the makeup. Some people consider not having makeup an off day.
Right.
And the reality of it is, for me, and I think for most people, most men, really, the non-makeup day is not the off day. The makeup day is the off day, because the reality of it is, we don't fall in love with the made up person.
I hope not.
We love the person that's natural.
Right.
So but these things have to be discussed. These things have to be talked about, because people have different preferences as far as the colognes and the smells. That goes not only in the appearance, but in the home itself.
Right.
What does the home smell like? What does what is the fragrance of the home? These fragrances have an effect on our moods.
Right.
They have an effect on how we view things, how we treat one another. So it's very important to.
And it's also important because, again, going back to our intimacy time, you have to practice good hygiene.
Right.
Because if we're asking people to continue to be intimate with us, nobody wants to come into a room for intimacy. And, the person that you're trying to be intimate with didn't brush their teeth. They didn't wash their face. They didn't clean up their front and their back. I've talked to you all about that before. To be honest, don't come to the bed smelling like bleach and Pine Sol. If you've just cleaned up the bathroom and the kitchen, and nobody wants to smell, we getting ready to be intimate, and here you come, your hands are smelling like bleach and Pine Sol.
Right.
Okay, come on now. Sometimes those smells turn a person off. I don't want to be having sex with somebody smell like Pine Sol. Right. So, the smells, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who are turned on or off by scent.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Important.
Yeah.
That's important. That's important.
Some people are.
Lagerfeld bothers you right now.
To this day. To this day.
Lagerfeld, yeah.
I can smell Lagerfeld right now, and it take me all the way back to when I was pregnant with my son, and I was super pregnant sick. And if I smell Lagerfeld right now, it'll make me angry, and I'll start feeling bad, because that's what that smell. It just take me back in my mind. Yeah. pregnancy, sick.
Yeah.
And I don't, So Ivory soap sometimes takes me back there because that was really the only soap that I could tolerate, Ivory soap. So there are some people who are hypersensitive when it comes to smells.
Yeah, it's important. Smells are important because, again, smells they really have to deal with your mood. Like, the sunshine has to do with your mood. When it's sunny outside and you can go out there and you get in it, it can change your mood. It helps in the mood. Fragrances are like that as well. So again, we have to make sure that we're taking care of our appearance. This is something that you have to discuss with your spouse ongoing. Now, this is what I found out. Ongoing, we have to discuss it because, again, we're going about the course of the day. We're doing things, we're operating a certain way, and we have to constantly remind ourselves to stay fresh, especially in the times of intimacy or all the time, for not only for our spouses, but for ourselves. It's very, very, very important. Danielle said toothpaste and soap is a must.
And then let me just say this, as you're aging and maturing,
you should be brushing your teeth twice a day anyway, at least once in the morning, once at night. You should be doing it after every meal.
Yeah.
But you should be doing it at least twice a day anyway.
So as you age and as you mature, hormonally you change.
Right.
And there are a lot of things that happen in this body that causes your scent to change.
Yeah.
And so you have to be aware of that. Women go through different things in their body, and you're sweating. Your hormones are changing.
Yeah.
Your estrogen scent is changing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say that again. Your estrogen scent is changing, and so you have to be aware of that. You're changing, and so when you're going through all those changes, you have to be aware of what's going on in and around you, your body. Do I need to use a different soap now? Whereas before you didn't have to use antibacterial soap. Now you have to search out for antibacterial soap because your body is doing all these changes, and there's a bacteria on your skin that's, affecting your scent. And you have to be aware of those things,
So, Pastor, are you saying that as you change and your hormones change, then the scents that you wear, they change as well?
You can have two people wearing the same perfume, and everybody knows this, or cologne, and it can stank on one person and smell good on another person. Am I right?
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody give me some thumbs up if you've smelled this before. Same perfume or cologne on people. It smells wonderful on one person. It stinks on another person because it's about your eating habits. It's about your chemistry. It's about, can I tell you something? It's also about your emotions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I have smelled women who were emotionally in turmoil, and they had on perfume, and the perfume made me sick. And just talking to them, I knew that they were upset. They were, going through something, and the chemistry from whatever they was dealing with, and it was messing with them physically or emotionally. And the perfume they had on was horrible. It just smelled horrible on them. So there are things that can happen in your body hormonally, physically, medicines. As we get older, we have to take certain kinds of medications sometimes. Medications sometimes don't agree with certain kinds of perfumes, certain kinds of things. If you're taking vitamins, sometimes you can smell like vitamins. Yes. Anybody ever had to take an antibiotic and you could smell the antibiotic coming out of your body? I have.
I took a medication not too long ago, and for the first time. And then I smelt it. Yeah, I smelt it. Kind of was strong.
Yeah,
I guess it was because it was just getting into my system, but it has an effect on the type of cologne you wear, and it changes the scent. So we should be aware of that.
So these are things that you have to talk to your spouse or prospective spouse about. And you never should be afraid to talk about hygiene and how a person looks. You never should have to be afraid. If you're in a relationship with somebody, this is something that we should be able to talk about. I'm not saying be harsh with the person. I'm not saying,
understand.
You stink. No, you ain't got to, unless they just really don't get it. And you've said it as many nice ways as you can say it. Then, sometimes you just got to come out of the box. But if you can say it in a way that is not, hurtful, then do that. Yeah. And then be aware of your body. Right. So the next question is number 3. Is weight control important to you? Is it a deal breaker if your spouse gains or loses too much weight?
So we've had conversations in counseling sessions where this has come up, and surprisingly, surprisingly, you would be surprised at some of the responses. I was shocked to find out that for certain people, gaining a few pounds, their spouse gaining a few pounds, always a spouse gaining a few pounds, is a deal breaker.
Yep.
For some people, it is they must stay a specific size the whole marriage in order for them to stay married.
And to be honest, that's impossible to be 20 years slim.
Amazing.
You're a 30-year slim and you're going to be 50 years old. Your body goes through too many changes. And, we're not going to even talk about the babies and, life and just general living. Yeah. But you had some people saying, I don't want my wife to get, heavy. Now, of course, it was okay for them to get heavy. And then there was some women who said, well, that go for you too. But is that important that your wife or your spouse doesn't gain a whole bunch of weight or lose too much weight?
Right, yeah.
If that's important, then that's a conversation that should be had.
But I think we have to make sure the most important thing is that we discuss that and get that out in the open early.
Yeah.
And for several reasons, weight gain can be unhealthy. And when we see our spouse going in that direction of unhealthy weight, then we need to kind of talk about that.
Yes.
So some people like their spouse a certain size, and that's okay. But does it have to be a deal breaker? Can we work on that? Or, sometimes people, mental health plays into their weight. They may be going through some things, gaining weight. They may be eating comfort. Yeah, or losing. They may be eating to be comforted. So we have to be mindful of these things when we're talking to our spouses. Weight control to you, is it a deal breaker if your spouse gains or loses too much weight?
4, do you feel comfortable telling your spouse or intended about their hygiene, i.e. breath or body odor?
Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
Can you talk about it? Do you feel intimidated that if I say something, I'm gonna hurt their feelings, and I don't want to hurt their feelings, or they're gonna get mad at me and attack me? Mm-hmm. Sometimes people can't take when you say, you point out something in their life that is maybe not the most positive, and then they start attacking you. Well, your breath stank too. Well, wait a minute. I wasn't trying to insult you. I just was saying, well, your breath ain't all that fresh all the time, and your underarms, and sometimes that's what happens when you try to discuss it. They deflect and they put it back on you. So is that something that will be an issue? Can we talk about certain things? Can we talk about hygiene? Can we talk about bad breath? Can we talk about it? And when you are a person that is maturing and growing in age, there are a lot of things that happen to your teeth. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that happen to your gums. Mm-hmm. There could be things that are going on in your mouth called crowding. And so when your mouth is crowded with teeth for whatever reason, food gets down in your gums. Wisdom teeth crowds your mouth. So if those are things that are going on and your spouse says, you know what, we need to make sure we go to the dentist because there's something going on in your mouth. You don't get offended. You go to the dentist and find out what's offending your spouse. Because if you're offending your spouse, you're probably offending other people as well.
So then it goes back to, we can never be in fear where there needs to be communication in our relationship. We can never be thinking in our mind what's going to be the response if I say this, or I'm not going to say this because
I don't want to hurt their feelings.
I don't want to hurt their feelings. And when you're in a relationship and you love people and you care about them and you only want the best for them, these conversations must be had. I know my wife told me, we got to take you to the dentist. We got to find out what's going on. Now, when we went in, I didn't have any cavities, but I had wisdom teeth on both sides, up and lower, that had to be removed. So I got them all removed at one time, and that solved the problem. But these things, it happens. I don't care how much you brush, floss, guard, whatever,
and what you use.
It depends on what's going on in your mouth. And so if you're afraid to address it, you just leave the problem. And this is why we ask the question, do you feel comfortable telling your spouse? Because it's not about comfort, it's about necessity a lot of times.
Right.
The conversations in a marriage relationship don't have to be based on comfort. They have to be based on necessity.
Right.
Is it necessary that we talk about appearance? Is it necessary that we talk about health? Is it necessary that we talk about finances, as opposed to, well, it's comfortable because they're not going to argue. Okay, if they get upset and they fuss and they argue, that's okay. As long as we get an end result that we need, the necessity of things to be managed well and taken care of in our relationship.
And
Does that make
sometimes
sense?
it's about health. If you're not careful and you don't address these things, it can turn
about
into
health, for
something
sure. No
terrible.
question.
So if
No
you know, I found out going to the dentist, they can tell if there's something going on with your health through your mouth.
Right, absolutely.
If you are swallowing poison from your mouth,
It's the gateway.
then you're opening up your bloodstream to all kinds of sicknesses and diseases because you're not taking care of your mouth. So those things are important. I just recently, in dealing with a family member, they wanted to extract teeth before they did a surgery.
They had to.
Because their position was, if we don't extract these teeth, the swallowing and the poison can get into their heart and affect their heart. So we have to remove the
During
teeth.
the surgery,
So those are things that, you would never think about. Okay, they got a surgery coming up, but you wouldn't think that a person's teeth could affect their life. And your teeth can. So when you're having excessive bad breath, if you're having issues with your mouth, if you're having issues with bleeding gums, if you're having issues, then we got to talk about it. And you can't take it personal.
Right.
Because it's really not personal. We're trying to make sure you stay here.
And nobody wants to smell your breath if it's bad. You all in my face talking and you lovey-dovey, but your
breath
is yeehaw.
Come on.
And that's an issue that we seem to be having in as we get older. As we get older, we seem to be having this issue about going to the dentist. And I don't know what that is, but it's as simple as one cleaning every 6 months can take care of a myriad of problems.
Yes, sir.
A 30-minute process twice a year can handle many problems. And we have to get to a place, especially when we're in marriage relationships, thinking about the other person, that we make sure we manage and take care of our dental health. It's so very important.
So the next question is, I want to talk about this too. Are you concerned about getting old? But I want to talk about this important part. To all the people who are marrying folks that are excessively older than you, you got to know what that means. When they are 15 and 20 years older than you got to know what that means.
Okay.
And a lot of times it's cute when you're 20 and they're 35.
Okay.
But you got to understand they're going to always be 15, 16, 18 years older than you.
So when you're 50,
do you understand what that means?
When you 60, they 75, right? Yeah.
And a lot of times, especially for women, I got a grown man, I got somebody who's older than me, and it's cute. But do you understand what it means as you age? Because they're going to always be 15, 20 years older than you.
So their body is going to be 15, 20 years older than you.
So there are things you're going to want to continue to do, but they can't physically do because they're 15 and 20 years older than you. And a lot of young people don't talk about this stuff. A lot of times they get married to these mature people and you don't talk, and it go both ways.
Yeah.
It go both ways. Yeah. A lot of times we don't talk about this stuff. And then when you get 50 and they 65, it's an issue. Or they 70 and it's an issue because you still want to bop and pop, but they ain't trying to bop and pop.
They're trying to go lay down.
Okay. They taking some medicine and they can't bop and pop with you and they can't do all the things that you might want them to do.
Right.
As much as they used to.
Right.
So
it's not possible.
It's just not.
It's just not
and
possible.
so you have to understand what it means to be in a relationship with someone that's older than you. Mm-hmm. I want to say that because I'm noticing that there are a lot of people who are marrying mature people. And then when they get a certain age, you still pretty young and you still want to do things, but they're not able. Mm-hmm. It's not that they don't want to, they're not able. Mm-hmm. And so these things are important.
Yes.
You got to have these conversations. You got to sit down and say, I'm 30 and you 45.
So that means when I'm 60, you'll be 75.
Okay. So what does this mean? No, you got to talk about it.
Sure
what does this mean?
Absolutely.
I got, honey, I'm 15, 16 years older than you. So I need to tell you, I may not be as sexually active as I am now. Okay, we got to talk about that because if we don't talk about it, it can be an issue. It don't have to be, but it can be.
Well, just based off of physical things,
yes.
It will be. Based off mental things, it will be. And based off where we are in the planet right now, the way things are going with the food, with the medicines, with the air and things like that, it will be an issue.
And if I get sick because I'm 15, 16, 20 years older than you, are you going to be willing to take care of me?
Can you take care of me?
Okay, let's talk about that.
Are you able? Yeah. So when we ask these questions, how concerned about getting old, that's one of the aspects that we have to cover, Pastor Tammy.
Yeah.
That's a very real issue. And we find people now, they say a nurse and a purse.
You've got these women now who are saying that men are approaching them and whining and dining them and telling them, let's get married. And these women are marrying these men and finding out they're only marrying them because they need a nurse and a purse.
Oh, Lord.
They need somebody to take care of them. They've abused women all their youth. They've abused the first 2 wives. Now they got into a place that they're sick and they don't want to go in a nursing home.
And they need somebody to take care of them.
And they need somebody. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. They're telling me now that you have men in their 50s, late 50s, early 60s living in nursing homes.
That's where they live. That's right.
Did y'all know that?
That's their permanent residence.
They are living in nursing homes because they don't have any place to go. They have exhausted all their relationships. They've abused themselves physically. And now after a stroke or whatever, they're living in nursing homes. And so you got men now, and I'm not saying women don't do it, but this is an issue that has come up. Yeah. A nurse and a purse. They're looking for somebody to marry so that they can come into their lives and be taken care of. Yep. She's got the health insurance. Yep. She's got the good job. There's a woman who's on social media said the gentleman told her after they got married, I saw you. He scoped her out at the hospital. She was a nurse. And he said, I saw you and I decided I wanted to date you. She said by the time the relationship was just about over, she was $1 million in the hole because he needed a transplant, I think for a kidney or a heart or something. And he never told her he was sick like that. He never told her he had all these issues. And I think the man did pass away, but she was stuck with all the financial stuff after he left the planet. Wow. Because he was looking for a nurse and a purse. And she didn't realize it until it was just about over that she had got scammed.
And, Pastor Tammy and I are not saying, walk around in fear of this happening to you. No. Or be super skeptical.
But have these conversations.
But be super skeptical about everybody that you meet. But when you have lengthy conversation with people and you're not desperate, when you have lengthy conversation with people and you're not on the desperate end,
right?
Then a lot of times what happens is you can see the red flag.
Yes, sir.
We say things like stay out the bed with people. So you can see and hear the red flag.
Yes, sir.
Because people are going to tell you their heart. You just have to be listening.
There you go.
And not overlook it when you hear it.
And this is the reverse. You got some females who looking for Boaz.
There's no question.
Well, we taught that. Is she looking for a rich man?
Not a broke ass.
Okay, that's what we say.
Yeah, right.
I ain't looking for a Boaz. I'm looking for somebody that got some money. Excuse me. I'm looking for Boaz. I'm looking for somebody that can take care of me. Right. I don't know why we're teaching that.
We teach that from the pulpit.
I don't know why we're saying that.
Covered his feet and all that.
Okay, I don't know. Get you somebody that got a bunch of money. I don't know why we're saying that to these women.
Absolutely.
I don't know why we're trying to get in their mind to look for a man that's got a whole lot of money that's going to rescue you.
Right. That's
right. I ain't getting nothing.
That's right.
I ain't getting nothing. Why are we looking for somebody to come in our life and rescue us? I'm not saying you don't look for somebody to come into your life and add to your life. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be looking for somebody to subtract from your life, but add to your life. But we're being taught to look for, by the time you get 35, 40 years old, you should have your own money. You shouldn't be looking for Boaz to come in your life. And listen, if you're looking for a man to come into your life on a white horse and just pick you up and take you off and you live a fairy tale life, you can forget that. That ain't real.
Right. You may get that one time. Early. You may get that early when you find that love. He come in riding on a white horse, pick you up from your mama's house, buy your house, put you in it, and y'all live happily ever. You may get that one time. But the older you get, the less probability that's going to happen.
A knight on a white horse is not going to come pick you up.
You're looking for somebody that can meet you where you are. You all on the same level. You're bringing the same things to the table, or at least they have the potential and are working at it. Not just got the potential. No, we have the potential and we're working on that. And you can see that. And we're working together, Pastor.
And again, We're taught a lot of things from the pulpit, but if you look at it from a kingdom perspective and you look at it the right way, why are we saying that?
Yeah.
And the world calls it a gold digger.
Yeah, why are we saying that?
Why are we telling our sisters? And this is why, I'm going to say this, is why we struggle as a Black community, especially the females. This is why we're struggling trying to meet people, because we got a perception that has been preached across the pulpit that is not a reality.
Right. Pastor and I say it all the time that the church is the main vehicle
culprit
that's keeping people single. The mindset that comes across from that pulpit keeps people single. And the preachers, they do it purposefully to keep the people and the women connected to them.
Girl, you better get you a Boaz. No, I'm going to get somebody that loves me and got potential and working on what they want for life.
They don't tell you Boaz had more than one wife.
And then he was the kinsman redeemer.
Right. They don't tell you that he was a family member. That was a type of Christ, kinsman redeemer. They don't tell you that story is about Christ redeeming us, the kinsman family member, bringing us back to the family.
That's the hidden mystery in that.
Boaz and was it Ruth?
I think it was
whoever her name is. They're family. Kin, related.
The husband died. According to those customs, somebody in the family had to redeem her.
Yeah, he was a family member. So they don't talk about that though. So.
And so he got to be rich. He got to come in. You don't get you a bozo. Get you somebody, a Boaz. Come on, y'all. Come on now. We got to stop thinking like that. Oh, we're putting women in a position that they're looking for a wealthy man. Yeah. We're putting people in a position, our sisters in a position that they're missing out on great guys and great relationships because we got tunnel vision. My pastor said he got to be Boaz. He got to have a whole lot of money. And okay, but the man that got a whole lot of money, let me tell you what they most looking for. A woman with the same amount of money. They looking for somebody that's got what they got. They ain't even looking in these local churches.
No, because they know.
Because they know if you in the local church 9 times out of 10, you trying to give all the money away or being taught to give all the money away to the spiritual leader. I'm just saying. So we got to stop saying that. We got to think bigger. Yeah. So again, is there concern about getting old? I don't know anybody who's not concerned about getting old. But if you don't get old, guess what happens?
Yeah, you only got 2 choices.
You die. So yes, I think all of us are concerned about things changing. Is there anybody that doesn't care about that? Of course not. We all are concerned. Some days I think I just woke up and I was 50-something years old. That's the way I feel sometimes. When did this happen? When did my children get in their 30s? They older than me. How did my children get older than me?
So.
What happened here? I'm still 25. How did my children get 30 and 34? When that happened? But life happens and we grow and we change. Of course, we're going to be the best we can be at any age, and we should age gracefully. But are you concerned about it?
Yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Yeah. What concerns you about your age? Does your financial situation concern you? That should be talked about. The things that are going on in your health, that has to be talked about. How can we handle these things moving forward, which is going to segue us into our next section, which talks about pastor commitment.
Oh boy.
There will be some challenging statements in this part of the question. I answer honestly as you can is what we said, because commitment is very, very true. And somebody asked a question earlier and they said, so does the vows for sickness and health, rich and poor, really mean something? Well, you got to talk about that.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I want to say this as a person who experienced sickness.
Health challenge.
Okay. Health challenge. Let me say this. In that challenge, I was so grateful that my husband really was sincere when he said in sickness and in health. When I was in challenge, the person that I was married to took care of me. And I have to say, for anybody who is getting ready to get into a relationship called marriage, you better talk about this, because life can happen. Mm-hmm. And I know I love Jesus and he's a healer, and that's all true. And God is able, that's all true. And I know the man okay and all of that. But when you're in a health challenge and it's a serious health challenge, you want to know that person won't throw you away. and that they will stand with you, and they'll go to the appointments with you, and they'll go with the treatments with you, and they will hug you every day. This is a conversation we had. Just give me a hug every day. Hug me and tell me that it's going to be all right. And every day I got that. Do you know how that helped me heal? Every single day, a hug, a kiss, and we ain't got to discuss it. I didn't feel like we needed to talk about it because I didn't need that. But the hug and the kiss and I love you made the healing speedy.
Sure.
Made everything better.
Yeah. And things go on that sometimes in challenges when the body changes. And so, you have to get to a place, or you should be at a place where it's not about the physical attributes. It's not about that. It's about the person. Pastor Tammy is going through her physical. Well, first of all, let me say this. Me taking care of her one time cannot equate to the hundreds of times that she have nursed me and ministered to me and helped me and hit me in the back of the head to make sure I was doing things to stay healthy. You know what I'm saying? That, to me, that was just an opportunity to pay back some of the stuff that she has done for me. Pastor Tammy has always made sure I eat right, always made sure I exercise. I always made sure that if she was doing it, I was doing it, And it wasn't an overbearing type of thing. It was just because if she was going to be healthy, then she wanted to make sure I was healthy. So when it came time for me to reciprocate that, to me, it was no issue. To me, it was the proper thing to do because of the love. It's not about what goes on. It's not about a scar here. It's not about this or that. Right. It's not about any of that other stuff. It's just about, are you healthy?
Right.
That you gonna stay here?
Right.
That's what matters.
And I think those things need to be talked about because I've seen people fall apart doing a challenge, a health challenge. Yeah. I've seen people marriage get torn apart. Yes. I watched something on social media not too long ago. A young lady, she was talking about how she had a form of cancer that was very rare in her girl parts, and how they ended up having to take her girl parts. And I'm not talking about the inside, just the inside and the outside. Wow. And she talked about how I just wish my husband would hug me. I no longer can be intimate with him, but I just want him to hug me and tell me that it was okay and that he loved me. And she says, I live in a house with somebody that won't sleep in the bed with me, won't talk to me, won't hug me. And she just cried, and they had been married a lot of years. And she said that she just could not believe that she got in this position, and the man that she thought loved her did not reciprocate in this time. And I thought it was very sad. So when you're in marriage and things happen, it's called life. Mm-hmm. Are you going to be able to handle it in a way that person can count on you? Because life will happen. We talked about if the spouse gets paralyzed, God forbid, but if they happen to get paralyzed, something happens. Can you still be a part of their life? Can you help them? Or are you going to abandon them? What does it mean to you? And you have to talk about that because things do happen.
Yeah. Yeah, things happen. Or somebody said losing a child.
Okay,
things like that happen, and it pushes people apart. Sometimes people blame each other for certain things. These type of situations should be communicated and talked about before you get into it. Just try to bring the conversation up so you find out where a person's mindset is. Because some people, you talk to some people and they say, they're watching TV together and the woman was in an accident, and then the man acted funny or vice versa, and then the person make a comment, because I could never do that.
Oh, wow.
And there you go. Now you already know something happened to me.
He said he can't never do that, or she says she can't never do that. So I need to make some arrangements that God forbid somebody is around to take care of me, because you made it clear you can't take care of me.
So one of the questions is, your spouse has had an affair, a child has been produced. Can you stay? If yes, why? If no, why not?
Now that's a conversation for your hips.
We've had it. We've had it happen in marriage counseling.
Yep.
We talked about it. Talked to couples. Had an affair in a marriage, and a child was produced.
What we gonna do?
Who the child gonna be with? What type of financial support are you going to give to the child if the child's not going to be with us?
Do the child have to come to the house? I have to look at your child that you had with another woman. How is that going to make me feel? That I have to deal with your child with another woman that you produced in our marriage, in an affair. Okay, let me see what y'all going to say.
Y'all on the quiet end today. Y'all on the quiet spectrum today. No, these things have to be talked about because this happens in marriage.
Absolutely.
This happens in marriage.
Women get pregnant by other men in marriage.
Yeah, watch this. You have to ask yourself, not only have this conversation with your spouse, but you have to ask yourself, if this happens to me, what would I do? How would I respond? I couldn't take that. I'd be out. Are you sure?
Because it's real easy to say that if it's not happening to you. But if you get in it, what would you do?
Yeah. Would you at least try to work things out, or is that an automatic deal breaker?
And for some people, I can't. I wouldn't want to mistreat the child.
Diane said that's a hard one. Yeah, I wouldn't want the child to be around the house because I wouldn't want to mistreat the child.
I don't think that I would. I don't think that I would because I like children. But I don't know.
Tasha Roberts said I can't do that.
See, there's some people that's just no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. There's no, somebody said no, first 48. There's no right or wrong answer. It just depends on how you see it and how you feel about that. And these things have to be talked about, Pastor, because it happens.
And it really does happen. And we have had these conversations. I've had this conversation with somebody in the last 2 or 3 years. And they actually asked me to name the child. They actually asked me, will you name the child? And I did. And the thing is, it wasn't the guy that did it. It was the lady that did it. The young lady did it. She went outside the marriage and she got a baby. And the issue was, okay, what we gonna do? Because you can't mistreat the baby. And believe it or not, the husband didn't have, he was like, well, they all in the same house. They're all children. I'm not going to abuse that child. He's here. So we just gonna deal with it. So it does happen. And everybody may not be able to handle it. So these are conversations.
Yeah.
If you do that, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Somebody said, what time you come on in the morning? We come on at 8 a.m.
Eastern.
Your
spouse has had an accident. They are paralyzed. Can you stay?
These are real conversations you got to have.
Can you stay? Can you stay and provide the help? Can you stay and provide the support? Can you be the what's it called? It's called the I was just listening to a guy talk about how on the radio yesterday he had a heart attack and his wife was the person that made all his appointments, made sure he got to the appointments, and she developed this book to help her keep track of all his stuff, and she sells it on Amazon.
Wow.
The caregiver is what I want to say, but that's not the word. But anyway, can you
advocate?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
See, you're so smart. Can you go and get the information necessary to properly be an advocate for your spouse or significant other? Can you do that? If you don't have the knowledge, will you go and get it?
Because that's important.
Because nobody's going to take care of them like you.
That's right.
So if they're paralyzed and they can't meet you physically like they used to, can you stay? They can't provide for you financially like they used to. Can you stay? Can you do both now? Can you provide financially, and can you make sure that they get what they need as they stay in the planet in the position that they're in?
And you and I've had this conversation personal. We were already married. We've had this conversation. And of course I would stay with my spouse. And of course I would take care of my spouse. His position was, I wouldn't want you to take care of me. I want to be well. And of course that's what a guy would say. Of course. But God forbid, of course I would take care of who wouldn't take care of their spouse?
We have had it. Listen, you would like to think that people would like that, but some people can't take on that much responsibility. Some people we've heard things like, that's not what I signed up for.
Yeah. It's too difficult. I can't do it.
Yeah. I didn't sign up for that. I signed up to go on vacations.
And I just be in love and life and good living.
I can't do that. I got to find me somebody.
And then, I've known people to put their loved ones in the nursing home. Let me just say this. There are situations sometimes that you don't have the physical ability to take care of the person. You know, you don't have the strength, you know, to lift them and put them in the water and put them in the tub. The house is not designed in that way to set it up where he or she can be taken care of properly without hurting them and making them sicker. So there are situations where sometimes you have to get outside help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Absolutely.
And if you have to call nurses in and get visiting nurses in to help you, there's nothing wrong with that because you're still doing your part. You just got extra help. So we're not saying all the burden should be on one person. No, we're saying that you can advocate, you can do what you need to do to bring in the resources to help you with your family.
But can you do that? But can you take on the added pressure to do that? Because some people can't even take on the added pressure to do that.
Right.
And this is the conversations that we have to have.
And it is taxing and it is wearing. I just want to tell you, it is taxing. It is wearing for a spouse to have to do these things. And you may have to get outside help, but are you willing to do it?
That's a question that needs to be discussed. Your wife has to lose her breast due to cancer. How would you handle it? How would you handle that? Could you handle that would you have to, that's a deal breaker for you? Is a question we ask.
That's some stuff, y'all, because it is going on.
Yeah.
People are having their breasts completely removed.
Women are going through breast cancer, and instead of dealing with it multiple times,
right,
just cut them off.
Yeah.
Just cut them off.
I've listened to women say that. I'm not going through it no more. Just take them.
Yep.
Or they find out that they have the genetic code for it, and they ask that they be removed. And of course, there's some aesthetics they can do now where they can give you plastic surgery and they can make you anatomically correct. And that's fine too.
But then you have a lot of people that don't want that.
They don't want it. They don't want nothing in there. Just leave it. I don't want anything. So that goes on too. Can you handle that? Yeah. The flip side of that is if your spouse has discovered that they have some prostate issues and they have to have some surgery. The surgery causes the issue of them being able, okay, thank you, that's the word, impotence. It causes impotence. Can you handle that? These are just conversations that you got to think about and you got to have because people are living and things are happening and you need to discuss this because I want to know what you think. So there's impotence now because of that surgery. Can you handle that?
And again, there are surgical things that can go on to help a person in that area. But some people are like, you know what?
I don't want to be bothered with none of that. I don't want to have no issues. I just want to go on and live my life. So these are discussions. For those of you who don't know what this is the Naked and Not Ashamed questionnaire. This is before we even get into the counseling.
Yeah, they have to fill these questions
out. This
out.
has to be talked about.
Yeah, they have to fill these questions out, answer these questions honestly. And then Pastor Tammy and I take the questionnaire, look over it, and then craft a sessions for them based off their answers and what we think they need according to the word. The next one, your spouse or intended cannot have children. Is that a deal breaker? For those of us who are this age, it don't matter.
Right.
You better not be having none.
In Jesus' name.
You better not come up pregnant.
I'm no.
But when you're younger, these are issues that must be talked about.
My God.
Amen.
I don't know.
All right. The next part, parenthood. Do you want children and how many? Needs to be discussed.
Because some people don't want a lot of children and some people want a house full.
Right.
And at one time I used to want a house full of children, but when I got those two, I was like, I'm good. I used to want I used to want a whole bunch of children. I wanted a house full. But when I got my two, I was like, Kurt, we ain't got to do this no more, right? And he said, no, if this is the end, it can be the end. I was like, cool, because this is it.
Yeah, right.
I'm done.
Yeah.
This is more than I thought.
Yeah.
So some people, want a house full. Some people don't want any at all, or one is good.
Yeah. Whatever you all can agree on is where you should land. Number 2, Pastor.
Would you feel unfulfilled if you couldn't have children? And let me just say this.
If you wanted them and couldn't have them.
Right. I think it's unfair. And this is why we're asking you to talk about it. It's unfair to know that you have some reproductive issues and don't say anything.
You have to talk about
You got to talk about it. If there's an issue and you know there's an issue, talk about it.
Right.
Don't marry a person knowing that there's some reproductive issues and you don't tell them. There may be a glitch. Listen, y'all, I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that God can do all that. But we're not talking about that.
We're not talking because everybody don't believe that.
Okay. We're not talking about that. We're talking about having the discussion that I have some reproductive issues. I need to tell you that. Is that a deal breaker between you and I? I may have some trouble conceiving. Is that a deal breaker? Because you got to talk about it. Because some people want children and they want to have a son that carries on their name or a daughter. They want that.
Yeah, it's important. Number 3, who would be responsible for birth control if we don't want to have children right now? If we're newly married, want to enjoy one another and continue in our career, whatever, that's a family decision. That's fine. Who's going to be responsible for the birth control? Are we going to use one method or another method or both? Are we going to be equally responsible for the control? That should be discussed.
Absolutely.
Number 4, what kind of discipline do you believe in? Circle all that apply. A,
spanking.
B,
timeout.
C,
corporal punishment.
D,
taking of privileges.
That should be discussed because people grow up in different households, different types of punishments for wrongdoing, and that should be discussed. How are we going to discipline our children?
If you're coming into the marriage and you already have children, this is a very important conversation because blended family. If you're coming into a marriage and you have children from a previous relationship and she has children from a previous relationship, how are we going to discipline? Because you got some moms don't want you whipping their children, don't want you disciplining their sons or daughters. That got to be talked about because there's some men who feel like I feed them. I take care of them. I clothe them. I'm working and I'm going to be able to say something to them. I should be able to discipline them. I should be able to say, I know that's your son, but he's mine too, because I'm marrying you. I'm bringing him into my life and I should be able to have something to say if they're doing something that I don't like. Is that an issue? Because if it's going to be an issue, it needs to be talked about. Yep. Again, you got some women don't want you disciplining their sons or daughters.
That's right. That's right.
And, let me just say this. And if you feel that way and the person that you're talking about marrying, you may have to reconsider one way or the other. Yeah. Because if they feel like that's going to cause problems, if your child, especially if you got a rambunctious child, a child that's sassy, and all of us know, what we got. If you got a little sassy and they realize my mama or my daddy said, you can't whoop me.
Then that's a problem.
You better not whoop me. And so that's going to be an ongoing problem. If you're concerned about the way they discipline, talk about how we're going. I don't want you to spank. Take something from them. I don't want you to take something from them. Punishment. What kind of appropriate discipline is going to be a part of your family? Some people don't want the spanking. Don't spank them. Especially if it's the girl. Don't spank my daughter. Don't spank her. Tell me and I'll spank her or I'll deal with her. So you have to have these kind of conversations because sometimes, we marry and then they want to come in and they just want to be the daddy. Well, they're 8 and 9 years old. You ain't gonna just come in and be the daddy right off rip and want to spank them. Right. No. You got to take your time and develop a relationship with them. They can trust you. I can trust you with them. So if there's children already, how are we going to deal with that?
And then the next question is, in a blended family, should the birth parent be responsible for making decisions for their own children? If yes or no, why? And that's another thing that has to be discussed.
Yes.
Who's going to make the decisions for the children on each side of the marriage? Or are we going to come together if there's a decision that needs to be made? These things have to be talked about. Because as somebody said, blended families are rough enough as it is.
Right. And then you got, again, some children, especially.
Take advantage of that.
Oh, baby. They know. Oh, my dad ain't going to let you whoop me. You better not say, I can tear this marriage up. You got some children.
You're right, Pastor.
You got some teenagers. They don't like you no way. They wanted their daddy to be with the mama or the mama to be with the daddy or however it went. And here you come. Okay, so, you got children that work on trying to destroy. I know y'all don't believe it, but it's true. I've been an ex-teenager. I know how teenagers think. So the best thing to do is never allow those children to pit y'all against each other. Keep the lines of communication open so that you can be sure that they're not pitting you against each other and causing unnecessary problems. This is why you need lengthy conversations. So these doors will be open so you can see the wiles and the tricks.
Yep.
Because children,
it off
right,
before you get into it.
Teenagers, young adults, however you see it, they can be a little something.
Oh yeah, they play the side game now.
Sure.
Oh yeah,
they will play y'all against each other.
They will.
So that they can have their way. He said I could do. She said I could do it. I never said nothing. Yes, you did. See, Daddy, she don't like me. She don't like me because she don't like my mama. My mama says she don't like me, and because I look like my mama. Yes, this stuff goes on.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to know your children, and you got to know the games that children and young adults can play. You got to know.
Yep.
So it's important to keep these lines of communication open so that you'll know how to put the fires out.
That's it. Tomorrow, we're going to discuss the friends in the relationship, politics, and we're going to talk about culture. So we got these. We're going to talk about your friends. Are your friendships as important to you as your spouse? That's one of the questions. Huh?
I've seen people fall out about that right there.
Put them friends down. You ain't going on vacation with your friends no more. That's over with. You ain't. What you going with the girls? There ain't no girls. I'm taking the place of all that.
And can that be all right?
Huh?
If your spouse says to you, I don't want you to go on girl vacations. I want you to be with me. Let's do this for the first 5 years. Let's get to know each other. Let's go on vacations. Let's just do things me and you. I know before you were doing it with your girlfriends, but I'm your husband. I know you were doing it with your guy friends, but I'm here now. I want to do those things with you. I want to get to know you like that. I want to be friends with you like that.
Let me see somebody say, oh, well, is that important to you? Friends. You can have friends on a certain level, but we're taking that away. All that girlfriend going on vacation with him for a whole week and all that, that's over with.
And if your spouse says, I don't care, then that's fine. That's fine too.
That's fine.
If your spouse says, well, that's y'all thing, I don't care as long as I can go with my guy friends. But our rule with each other was this just us. Because there's some people don't care. We gonna go.
Yeah, well,
I don't know what you're doing with your guy friends.
I don't need to go with them.
Then go with me. That's our thing. Now you got some people don't care because they call it getting away from the family. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I ain't trying to get away from
right. I don't know about that.
Taking my family with me.
Right. We take them with us.
So we'll deal with that. The friendship manner, politics. Do you believe that two people should have the same political views in order to have a successful marriage? One's a Republican, one's a Democrat. I promise you.
I didn't seen it. I
I promise you.
I'm dealing with somebody about that stuff right now.
I promise you it's an issue.
Law abiding.
Is being a law abiding citizen important? Have you ever been arrested? Have you ever been to jail? And if so, how long? Culture. Do you regularly go to the movies or do you prefer to wait and watch at home? What's your favorite style of music? All these things we'll talk about tomorrow.
You need to know if somebody been to jail. Don't marry me. And then I find out you can't get a job, or you can't do certain things or whatever the case may be because you've been in jail and you didn't tell me.
How long you been in prison? Not jail, prison.
Those things are important.
Upstate.
Put away.
Things are important. We'll talk about that tomorrow in the Naked and Not Ashamed. Hope you were blessed. Hope this was a blessing to you today.
Listen, if you have any questions, please inbox us, and we'll take a look at your questions, and then we'll be prepared to answer it because we do questions and answers in this. So that if you have some questions that maybe, we didn't answer here, we can answer it a little bit later on.
Again, if you have any questions that you would like Pastor Tammy and I to address during the Naked and Not Ashamed sessions, just DM us and we'll take a look at it and hopefully we get it in.
All right. And if you would like to tithe or give an offering to this Naked and Not Ashamed, has been such a help to you. You can do that. You can do it by $ Our Power, $ Increasing Faith. You can also do it by Givelify, Increasing Faith Ministry, ifministry.com, or you can call us at 313-401-5953. And again, we thank God for those of you who've come into this portal so that we could share with you what we believe is something that can help your marriage. Absolutely. I believe you can have a healthy marriage. You can start out with a healthy marriage and you can go through life being able to use these tools whenever you need them. The proper tools always help.
Absolutely. Get the proper tools. You can always put the proper work in. Join Pastor Tammy and I tomorrow right here on Facebook or on YouTube at 8 a.m. for the Hour of Power, where we're dealing with naked and not ashamed, marriage ministry from a kingdom perspective.
God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
God bless.
God bless you, Z.